All right, Pedro. Listen, when I said you need to get us some hoodies, I was thinking more along the lines of, a sweater, and less along the lines of white and pointy.
But the capirote is part of my proud Portuguese heritage.
Listen, Pedro. All right, I would almost believe that, almost, but you're gonna have to explain that second box of giant lowercase t's. Coming up on Linux GameCast Weekly, Source 2 Left 4 Dead prototype screenshots are leaked. Cryengine comes to Linux. The Dark Mod 2Z1 is out. Space Hulk is a real boy, and enhanced caveman penises. Then we throw the chairs at Octodad, Deadliest Catch. All this, plus your hate mail. Let's go. And welcome back to another Linux GameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. I'm Vin Stone, joined every week by Massa Svig, you might know him from the killing of Jesus, and Mr. Mateus, with a special place in hell reserved just for him, right down the hall from Real Player. And also you, Chat Realm, the fourth part of our Cocaine Voltron. So,
Chat Realm, our website.
Brilliant!
Brilliant!
I like it. So, before we get started this week, we're going to talk some steamy things, maybe a quick preview at the new Source engine. We got some octally sticky things that are quite easier than expected, and somebody decided to make a video game using a benchmark engine, and they're still at it. So, before we get started, what's been going on in our twisted, distorted worlds, gentlemen P-Man?
Yeah, not much, really. Still out of a job, still looking, and considering the current situation in Portugal, it's not going to change anytime soon. But other than that, I finally got tired of Pulse Audio bullshit and decided to reinstall Corora 20. Just do a fresh install, see if it fixed it. It didn't fix everything because Pavu controls still sec faults at launch, so good times.
You managed to break Pulse Audio. Wow.
Shock among shocks. Really.
J-Man.
When you upgraded Pedro, did you use Fed Up?
I did.
You should have used K-Fed.
You know what? Out of curiosity, because you were having so much trouble with it, I spun up a machine using Fedora 19, ran Fed Up, and it worked like a charm. Odd how that works.
Yeah, if you change the Pulse Audio configs, by the time you're done upgrading, it'll reset them, but it'll still be using the previous configs, and it'll fuck shit up.
Brilliant! Okay, J-Man, what's going on?
Absolutely nothing. I am a very dull person in real life.
Fantastic. Over here, not a whole lot. I found my eye patch. That's great. I've been looking for that for quite some time. Bought a fancy coat. Yeah, it's at least 3/4 of a cow. Main reason I purchased it. Outside of that,
because fuck cows.
Cows. Moo, bitches. Scale engine. Fuck Scale Engine. Yeah. Tried to get a hold of somebody that would help me out, and they're like, all right, here's your stream. I was like, don't we need some type of, like, verification key for this? Like, oh, no, just plug that in, it'll stream. And I was like, I'm 90% sure if that's your verification for that, I could hijack anybody else using Scale Engine in, like, 2 fucking seconds. Just saying. So, I'm doing some work on talking with people at the tubes, so we might be able to be doing the actual, not G Plus Hangouts, but live streaming from YouTube. That's brilliant. I'm done with that. Sexy as that. I'm going to rub my nipples because this man right here is going to make with some loving.
Oh, yeah. We got to whisper sweet nothings in here.
Give it to me,
checking us out at LinuxGameCast.com. You can also click on that forum button. Check us out on our forum, Chat Realm Static. We also have a Face Butts page. We got a YouTube page that Shock Among Shocks is still up. Content ID hasn't taken us down yet. We're going strong. And if you want more Linuxy debauchery, check out reddit.com/r/Linux_gaming.
That's his
And
name.
you know what? If you like the show, toss us some wet
No one
stinky
likes
cash.
this show. They just...
No, you know what? Someone has to like the show because
No. You see, you misunderstand. The reason people donate
No,
to the
no,
show...
no,
No.
Stockholm syndrome.
They
Stockholm syndrome.
hate the show so much. They donate so it can continue going on, so they can just continue hating it.
I know, it's just like
Works
paying a
for
really
me.
ugly stripper to keep their clothes on. But if you give us a one-time donation, you can join the glorious Linux Gaming Master Race.
Yahoo!
Oh, jawohl. And you know what? If you want a producer credit, you can give us a recurring donation.
Yeah,
and you will show up in our credits for as long as you keep giving us money. That's pretty sweet. We don't have a PSA this week. So
But we
let's
do
just
got
shimmy-
somebody a little
Someone did give
special
us
to
some-
thank.
Oh, no. Someone, Reese J, gave us
Reese J.
10 wet stinky bucks.
Fuck mothering
Yep.
Reese J with his 10 wet stinky. Thank you,
Welcome to the Linux Gaming Master Race. Can I get a Heil Hitler? No? Nothing?
sir. The wow. You know,
Wow.
Bad, Jordan. Bad.
No. But if you don't have any money, you can spread the word about the show. We want all the chillins of the world to hear about this little train wreck. Speaking of train wrecks, I heard the horse got into a little bit of an accident while we were transporting it this week.
you know, the horse actually, the accident was caused because of the rumored upgrade, the transmogrifying it. And he tried to say nay, but Gabe slapped on that stinky wet hand and shoved it right up there. But it's still a rumor. We don't know if it's a real thing, but
But you know, it is our Steam
Linux
Update
of the
week. So then, what's this all about?
Valve time.
Time.
Today's news. Tomorrow. Oh, it's like a newspaper. But no, this is the original source, and everyone's copied this a bazillion times. This came out Monday. And this is a look at what is rumored to be the plantation level. Wow, didn't realize that. Of Left 4 Dead 2. And if you played the original plantation level, this is a massive upgrade. If it's
Yep.
the real thing. P-Man, thoughts, hints, allegations, things better left unsaid.
It looks good. And if it is the Source 2.0 engine, which I'm guessing is their response to the fact that Portal 2 is not yet on Linux, neither Portal 2 nor CSGO, because they use the newest version of the old Source engine. And I'm guessing they have trouble porting that to Linux, maybe. So they're working on this to hopefully bring Portal 2. And whatever game they release with it.
Does
3.
that,
You
does
know
that
what?
give you a bit of a chubby?
This is pure sheer speculation.
It is.
Promises.
Promises.
I want to see more concrete information before I start jumping.
Come on.
Like specific Mexican. It's gorgeous looking. I'll give it that.
If this doesn't
If-
make you
if-
want to,
if-
like,
if
you
this
know,
is
pull
legit,
your pants down
this
and
is-
scream
this is-
Half-Life
this is-
3 confirmed, I don't know what does.
This is a 3-year-old engine too, because they've been developing Source 2 for a number of years now, and
Yeah.
it still looks pretty damn nice. So if this does hold any water, then I'm excited for what's coming down the pipe.
Well,
Yep.
don't Hulk out just yet, gentlemen. Puny God.
Puny God.
What is
But
it?
yes, speaking of God Emperors, Warhammer 40k Space Hulk is officially out. I picked this up way back when it was on sale. But what's this? My show notes didn't load that page. How about that nonsense? But it is a turn-based strategy game, not unlike Shadowrun Returns, and where you have like your little unit of guys and you move them around in a sequence. It's basically like any other Dawn of War style, or any non-Dawn of War style Warhammer game you played. So I played it. It was a bit boring for me, but if you are a fan of the original Space Hulk, then you'll definitely get a kick out of that. It is $30, but
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
checking out
it's
the
a
big
bit-
price tag
actually,
on
you
Brad.
know what?
there. What?
the 2-pack is $50, so that's a pretty good
$50, yeah.
deal actually.
So,
I wanna get a
I'm kind of
friend in
reminded
on the
about,
action.
what was that game we played some time back, P-Man, that you couldn't knock the cock out of your mouth about it? With the robots?
What? Bionic Dews.
Bionic Dews. No, this is nothing like it. In fact, I was looking at the store page wondering whether or not I should get it. And I was reading the press review snippets and thought, this is actually pretty good. Then my sight moved slightly to the right of the page and I saw a Metascore of 58 out of 100.
This is a game for a specific type of people who enjoy the sort of turn-based Unity chess games.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it's like
I
the
didn't like
Warhammer.
Warhammer that much.
If you really like the board games and that, and you loathe social interaction, yeah, pick it up. I mean, 30 Wet Stinky, that's the thing. It's got Linux support. It's been running under Linux for a bit while, but it's now a real boy. But
Beatboxing.
What is love?
Blasting.
Baby, don't hurt me. No, it's this Beat Blaster 3, which is
From Chainsaw
now,
Games.
the preview build is now available on Steam for select media outlets.
Basically,
Or-
no one. We have a copy.
Yeah, some select media outlets got a copies, ourselves included, and it's a tower defense sort of game that you have to protect either eggs or peanuts or something.
Well, when you
from
say
the
tower
creatures that
defense,
are
you got to
raised.
really clear it up. It's like 2D platformer tower defense. If you want to use tower defense in this,
Yeah, it's a 2D tower defense, no questions asked. And you have to manage using your energy between your blaster and your shield. And the way you have to recover your energy is your character puts his hand on his headset and then bobs his head to the music like, baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
you know,
No
when I
more."
looked at this and they sent me that, well, they sent everything and they spread it out, and P-Man's like, all right, give us some Wet Stinky keys, and like, here's some keys, and it's coming out like at the end of next month. You know,
Yep.
anything like that. And I was like, all right, put it in. I was like, it looks like a little kiddie game. Futzed with it. Good mechanics. I mean, how it plays. I mean, it's a bit cartoonish. You know, a 3-4-year-old or a Jordan would absolutely get a blast out of this.
Yay!
But doing that business, very solid. Just the way the controls worked out of the box with the excluding controller. So something
Yep.
I can't say. You know, I don't have a chubby over this coming out, but it's going to be a really solid game for Steam on Linux. Boom.
And also a big thanks to Joseph Lieberman. He's the guy at the VG
senator?
Smart. Yeah, no, he's the guy at VG Smart, the PR guy. He sent us the key, so big thanks. We appreciate it.
So, can I come home now? Did I do a good
No.
job?
No, Curiosity. You stay on fucking Mars forever. And
Well,
ever.
screw you!
All right, so this is Starlight Astronaut Rescue, and this was a game developed in collaboration with NASA. So our friend Terry is very, very against this
Wait.
game.
So you mean it took like 8 years in development and it's for $4,000?
Absolutely yes. And for a price tag of $179, I don't know. From what I hear, this is very short game.
Well, it's 40% off, kind of like NASA's
Yeah.
budget.
Actually, that's more like 70% off. Heyo. But for $1.79, it's less than a pop. It'll probably take you about the same time to drink it. So if that's your dice,
What's it-
why not?
Eh,
If you beat it, you get a fancy schmancy Mozilla Open badge. Ooh.
yeah, you get a Steam badge, and tell you the truth, I got to the very last puzzle, which is basically just math. You do math. You walk up to a puzzle area, you do math, you solve it, and then you walk up to the next puzzle area, and by the time I got to the last puzzle, I was like, yeah, no.
Well, Pedro, what
10
you got to realize,
minutes.
if you do it quick enough, it's like Stargate Atlantis, that first episode. Then you like to knock on the door. Then they just shoot
Yeah.
you because you're too smart, because it's not a fucking TV show. So that's the
But
thing,
yeah,
at a
it's
price. How much replay value? You said Z on the replay value?
Zero. None.
10 whole
At
minutes
all.
with zero replay value. That's way too expensive.
You know, if
Well,
I'm
you-
sorry.
you know what? NASA needs the money. So
Yeah, I mean, need another 7 astronauts. That's a thing that's brilliant. But I'm smelling some caveman smegma.
oh yeah.
Yes.
It's time for the Rusty Trombone. Rust has a bunch of updates with their latest update.
Oh,
Summarized.
from Gary, the champion of Linux.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So, Cliff Notes version of this long ass screenshotty article is they have doors with optional passcodes. They have a bunch of issues they fixed with all the grass when it came up and tried to kill you. They have sleeping bags now and beds, actual beds.
Giggity.
They added some VSync options. They redid a bunch of the stuff for item repairing to make it a bit more balanced or more challenging. The specifics are in the article. Apparently, when you're attacking items, you no longer get boom headshots. And they have some new music. Apparently, what was happening was the original music they had contracted, they couldn't get because of licensing problems. But the guy they had do the original music has provided some new music. So hopefully that will add some auditory goodness to your Caveman Smackdown.
I've definitely heard from the YOLO Brovine that most of the cheating has been taken care of. So
most of.
Get your caveman penis on.
Get your caveman
and it's a
penis
good
on.
thing that they fixed the grass because
Was that pissing? Were you losing sleep over it?
It's it's the Unity engine and Unity grass. I think we've all had our experience with Unity grass.
Yeah,
so
it's nothing like Unity heroin
finally...
or Unity cocaine, man.
I like Unity MDMA actually.
Brilliant.
But Digital Millennium copyright.
DMCA takedown notice, the game, I like to call it.
Oh yeah.
Also known as Controller Destroyer Simulator 2014. We'll be talking about this in detail next week. Go ahead, J-Man.
Well, we'll be talking about it in detail next week if it's still on
If
Steam.
it's still up. There's only so far you can go with like parody and cloning, and man, we got Care Bear Stare, we got DeLoreans, we got that chewing gum thing. I don't know what that stuff's called.
No,
I'm
that's
sure
from,
Chat will have that
dog
in
food
there.
commercial with the horses.
I don't remember. And we got Cobra, all that, which basically you're fighting the hood or some business. Like I said, we'll hopefully be able to give it a proper go next week. We have a couple of copies. It's on sale for $5.24. It is a turn-based strategy. What it says in your face orging, Saturday Morning RPG is an episodic JRPG set in a world heavily inspired by 1980s. Saturday morning, they're going to take us down because pop culture references. Players take the role of Martin, quote-unquote, Marty, yeah, your ass is grass, son.
Yep.
Michael Hall, an average... Oh, and there's a hoverboard in there. Yeah.
There is. And it basically plays exactly like Legend of Dragoon with its, like, Mario Golf-style combat.
I think FTP Brutality nailed it as like the fruit stripe zebra gum. But that's the thing. Pick it up while you can, if you want. 80s JRPG action is the bee's knees in your universe, and you're weird. Take off your furry costume and give it a go. It's available.
But I like my furry costume.
$5.24. Yours isn't furry. You just haven't washed it.
But it has my musk.
Let's go from 25% off to free, as in gratis.
Yep. This
Cheap as
is
free.
Serena.
Serena!
It's the newest free adventure game on Steam. And the game description makes it sound interesting.
All
How
right.
long has it been? A man sits in a distant getaway cabin, waiting for his wife, Serena. Where is she? Things in the cabin evoke memories, and the husband comes to a disturbing realization.
Oh, I like in the video how they make it look like shit actually moves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what the video is a little misleading, like Vin just said. It's not
A little,
exactly
yeah,
Right. Mhm.
it's not exactly a continuous experience like you have with, say, Amnesia or Penumbra
It
or
would like you
anything
to
really.
think that much at the beginning of the game, anyways.
No, P-Man's going to bring up a
does.
very valid point with Penumbra. When you saw that amnesia-like atmosphere, and you start playing it, I immediately threw that business down in the show notes and was like, all right, listen. If you're going to give me... I'm sorry, that's the amnesia hand thingy. Yes, I know it exists, and it exists previous, but frictional. It's frictional hand thingy. If you're using something that looks exactly like that, by the way, the frictional engine is now open source. You could have used that. And it doesn't operate like frictional hand thingy? Stereo.
You're doing it wrong.
J-Man, what were
But
your
yeah,
thoughts about the hypercardiness, action-packed funness that is now known as...
You know what? I like you guys were saying earlier when we were not recording. Way back when, in the days of Myst and whatnot, when computers had limited computing power, the frame-by-frame thing worked. My video card has more RAM than Pedro's laptop.
No,
I
it
should
actually
expect
doesn't,
some.
but okay.
I should expect some smooth-ish animation, and not click. Oh, zoom.
J-Man, I just had a frightening idea.
Zoom.
I just had a frightening idea.
What?
What if now currently we have hipster pixel graphic games that are like throwbacks to the 80s? What if this is generation 2 of hipster hypercard fadey BS games?
Well, we do have Asylum coming soon, and it's going to be exactly like that from the look of it. So, yeah, probably.
The other big problem with this game is that they give you like 2 voice actors, one of whom is semi-internet famous Pushing Up Roses. The other one, who you hear most of the time, has the most god-awful annoying voice I've ever heard. Just the guy just is really, really whiny. He's like, "Oh man, I miss my wife. Oh,
the
I'm
sole
gonna look at this
reason that
picture."
this game even exists is because of a teeny tiny kerfuffle among 2 guy and a girl, the protagonist as he's portrayed, and a girl which happens to share the first name with the supposed missing wife in the game. But yeah, there was a little kerfuffle between those 2 in the
So it's kind of like My
the
First
adventure
Marriage Simulator.
Sort of, yeah. It's
Except
the point
she
and
was
click
never
adventure
found. You want some
community
pizza
is
rolls?
weird. And when they start
Yes, Mr.
stepping on
Plinkett.
each other's toes, yeah.
Anyway, that's the thing. It's free. Trust us. Don't waste the bandwidth on it unless you just really like downloading things.
Unless you really want to waste 300 kilobytes of space.
Yeah, it's only 300K written entirely in an assembly. The graphics are pulled from the moon.
Or
right?
310.
Right.
My bad. I get
Anyway,
confused. Who
That
am I?
horse
Where
now
am I?
needs to transform in to a little box so we can pack him away and get him ready for next week. Maybe he'll have new things, magical and rainbow-like. But until that business, let's do some news.
It's time for some Linuxy news. And
mean
starting
not
us
like
off
horsey
this week,
news?
I thought it was like
Then-
Windows Linuxy news.
Yeah.
never.
What happened to Linux GameCast, you heretic?
What happened to Linux Xenix Cast?
Linux game cheese. But yes, Ven, why don't you tell us about this RPG that they're building
Don't
with the
hurt yourself there,
Cryengine?
sweetie.
Yeah.
Yeah, will it run Kickstarter?
You've
Kingdom
got a
Come
pretty
delivers.
mouth.
Squeal like a pig, boy, because we're talking about a Kickstarter for not the reasons you might think, because this is already terribly overfunded. 18 days left, you might want to get in, and you're thinking to yourself, what do you want to get into this? Well, other than, let me tell you,
Deliverance.
this is going to be made on the Cryengine. Right. So, and it's not a stretch goal, it's a thing. They're like, okay, we're going to run this on Windows, Mac, and Linux out of the box. And that's just fucking neat, because
It is.
like we're starting to see, the Unreal 3 engine slowly rolling out, except for those guys that can't figure out their shader models. But Cryengine, backported stuff like that would be awesome to get over to Linux, first-person shooters. And
Far
just-
Cry, all that good stuff.
Right, all that business. And just continuing on with that, saying that, okay, this works, I can see some money coming in. So I would, I haven't kicked them any wet stinky, but this is Kingdom Come Deliverance. You might want to throw them a few quid just so you can, and I do mean quid. They have a pledge goal of £300,000 out, and they've already got 584. wet
And
rhyme
yeah.
pounds.
Still
So-
over half a month to go, too.
I want to kick that in. I don't think they have a sleep with her sisters option, but the next closest thing is £5,000 collector's edition, all that. Yeah, don't say anything.
You get a tour through
Yeah.
real life places that this is based off of, and you get to talk to the
Right.
director, and you get to fuck his sister.
Oh, sweet. All right, I'm in. So,
That'd be nice.
what's the game
So it's
about?
benchmarking the role
It's kind of like chivalry or where it's kind of like it's a
Look at this
melee
dude. He's all
combat
like, "Are you my
thing for
sister? I
medieval
would
Europe."
like to have sex with you." Too late.
yeah.
Surprise sex. It looks decent for like some early work. So I'm all about that business, but since we're talking about relics like Cryengine,
Yeah, and benchmarking engines of all things, we have Relics of Enerath.
remember
There's
this?
a new update. Yeah,
We've been covering this for years, literally.
Year.
for a while
Oh,
now.
yeah.
And they say, Hexen Tans says, hello everyone. While had a quiet programming wise, ew, that tightened out my brain. We use the time show you some of our latest polishes and graphics. Martha Lake is now actually a lake. There is sand and gravel on the ground, weather adjustments, fine tuning mostly, addition of a fancy filter to make lights gloomy, and some other perks. Look at Night Castle and Moon image.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the next thing to come soon, trademark. A wind with strength rotating windmill, further use crafting. Owls
But
and night
Alpha
forest,
Update
birds
4
and
is
crickets.
now out and available. It's free. You don't have to pay anything for it.
It is.
But a few notes I definitely want to say about this. I'm glad this is still making with the updates. Chances are, if you log in, you download this. Let me rephrase that. If you can download this business, because apparently they have decided to locate their servers in Mothering Middle Earth, like for whatever reason, right? And you go through to install it. You get a nice, 20, 30, 40 megabit download for, I don't know, blink, boom, there's a weeping angel in your face and your download's Zod. Fix that, because, I was curious about this Alpha 4 for about, because then you got to relaunch the entire launcher, click next like 4 times, then it give you a little bit more, and it just, out of principle, I was like, I'm just going to let you sit there because you're being naughty, and it never did it. It just, meh. So, that's the thing. Check it out. Keep following it. Like I said, I'm really impressed that they've decided to build a online world using a benchmarking engine called
Damn
Cryengine.
Unigine. Damn that thing to hell.
I
Yeah,
wanna
sledgehammers,
be man.
Where's Phil Collins when you need him?
Yeah.
Jackhammer.
It's not a sledgehammer. It's more of a jackhammer.
Giggity.
Why don't you tell him about that, Ben?
Jackhammer is a brand new level editor for games with a Quake-style BSP architecture, Half-Life, Quake 2. The aim is to develop a convenient cross-platform tool capable of incorporating the best features of existing editors, such as Valve, Hammer, and Q3 Radiant. This reminds me a lot of the engine or the application that originally shipped with Q1, Quake 1, and also the Doom 2 with the BSP editors and the 3D editor, which
Ooh.
was
I remember those.
crash-tastic.
Long time ago.
Well, P-Man, you might remember with Doom 2, Doom 1 and all that, you had the BSP with the nodes and all that, and all that business had to connect, then it would make the level. Then we go to the fully 3D world, which was Quake 1, lawns off of it, and that didn't fly. I mean, there was no Google back in these days, like I said, lawn.
None.
And you could find like hints, categories, and allegations, like fuck all idea what you might supposed to be able to. Then you had to learn that, it's 3D, so you have to insert an object, giggity, and carve out and delete, and it was interesting at the time.
Yeah, you had to bake the terrain, actually bake it. And it wasn't pretty. Like Ven said, there was no Google back then. Nowadays, you kids have it easy.
Kids these days.
Right. Isn't that right, Sonny boy?
But you know, I think you're dancing around the issue.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are we?
Dance of the Damned.
Dance of the Damned.
Which you didn't put up in the... I personally blame international communism and Solid Stone. But while Ben is looking for this thing, this is Dance of the Damned. It's off IndieDB. It is a new game built on a custom engine for coming in Q3 of 2014, according to them. I don't know how accurate that actually is. But they're supporting Linux, Wii U, PC, Windows PCs, rather.
Check out the useful armor on Brad.
I know. It's like, that will actually protect you from so many swords and arrows. It's just it's stripper-tastic.
Well, you can definitely tell this is a one-man
It is a one-man project, though, so that's certainly a thing. There's not really much out on it besides like a couple screenshots. So I guess we may be reporting on this as more news actually crops up.
I want to see where this goes, because I mean, if all sorts out, I mean, naturally it's like the most choice of choice screenshots, brilliant. But
darkness imprisoning me.
All that I see, absolute Pedro. All right, that's dark enough. You have some. Pedro's looking at it and he's like, no, that's not a custom engine.
Yeah. I was looking at the screenshots and I've seen enough Unity to recognize that particular bloom and that particular grass. And that fucking Unity grass, it's everywhere nowadays. And he calls it a custom engine. That irked me a little bit.
Hurt you good.
Just a bit.
Anyway, that business is on Indie Database. You can find it. Just do a search for Dance of the Damned. Coming Q3 2014, like J-Man said. We'll see. We'll follow it. We'll let you know. We'll talk to the developer and say non-disparaging remarks about his mother, and maybe.
But how about this dark total conversion thing?
Yes, the dark total
conversion. That's racist.
The dark mod that's not actually a mod.
The DTC, the DTC.
Like,
download DTC. Will you know me?
Like Ven likes to call it, it's the dark total conversion. Now it has updated to version 2.01.
Wait. Pedro, you mean like their own wiki calls it?
Yes.
Thank you.
So yeah, they fixed a bunch of bugs. Some of which were causing people's save games to corrupt themselves, so that's fixed now. They also fixed some combat bugs, and they've made it a bit more forgiving at lower difficulties and harder at higher difficulties, so it's a bit more balanced, if you will. Female characters look prettier, and physics in the swing now work as they're supposed to. I don't know if you guys played the swing map, but
I've done. I tried to give this latest version.
Wait. There's a swing map, so you get to go both ways.
Sort of, yeah.
Like a wrecking ball.
Ha!
It's about that you actually
this one
start on a giant swing, and you have to climb all the way to the top to get it to stop, to actually break the damn swing, so you can then lower the drawbridge and finish the map. And in the previous version, you couldn't do it, because as soon as you stop the swing, you'd get flung out. Pretty much, so you'd die.
Well, J-Man, I heard when you weren't busy trying to kill Jesus, you gave this a shot of compiling.
Yeah, I gave this a compile. I've got a bunch of weird compiler output I gotta sift through before I figure out what the hell actually went wrong with this thing.
But you're running some crazy moon setup, right?
No, it's not compiling on Fedora 20 stock, so I gotta do a bit of digging.
But
hopefully,
no, you don't have any of the libraries. You never compile stuff on the box.
I don't compile things at all on this computer.
No.
At all.
Never.
Well, if it doesn't have an Arch user repository, then I don't.
How else is it to do it? Arch.
Indeed.
So that is the dark mod.
But you know what? Speaking of inflexible jerks, coming up next, we're going to be dealing with a very flexible jerk in Octodad, Dadliest Catch, the review, the game, the movie.
Suck it.
Directed by M. Night Shyamalan, starring Nicolas Cage. And today we're reviewing the game otherwise known as Octodad, Dadliest Catch. It's developed by Young Horses using the Erlicht C++ based engine. It is $11.99 wet stinky cashes, $11.19 wet stinky euros, and I don't even know how that word's pronounced. So you can check them out at octodadgame.com. It's available on Steam. All sorts of good stuff. And it is a open world invertebrate simulator where you wander around and knock stuff over. And it's pretty fun to look at. But is it fun to play? That's what we're going to find out today on Linux GameCast Reviews. So we have our crazy ass review system. Ben, show them the chair explanation.
Brilliant. Chair explanation.
One chair means that it's fucking garbage. 2 chairs means that it's fucking meh. 3 chairs means that it's fucking good.
And you got a
4
fat
chairs
ass.
means that it's really, really fucking good. So, we also have our categories. Doom mixed with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. Mixed with the working is how it works, how it runs, how it operates under the Linux family of operating systems. Shiny and Sounds is about its auditory glitz and its visual glamour, and we'll see if that does any good. Controls is self-explanatory, and fun is also self-explanatory.
And subjective.
So, then, did Octodad, Dadliest Catch, make with the working?
Hang on, let's go ahead and get this out of the way.
Mm-hmm. Chug, 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 chug.
Tasty vitamins? No. Makes with the working on the Ubuntu, our minimum base test. Why do we have this? There's a good reason, because that is still, even though we have SteamOS, developers, this game just came out a few days ago. Minimum requirements, Ubuntu 12.04. So we have it, but this is an octa-core powered 770 juiced Masturbatotron box running 32-bit just for fun. Does it make with the working? Well, the game actually froze up once, but in all fairness, just one time. Had to TTY. You might know that command. Control-Alt-F fun. You know.
Control-Alt-F-U.
All right, basically. Find that. I kill 9 because that's just me. Steam Overlay currently doesn't make with the working because fuck you, that's why. We didn't think about that. Or maybe we just didn't test it, but we'll get into that joyous business just a bit later. Just to round that up, I don't think they tested some things, but overall, mix with the working, can't give it 4 chairs, but, you know, in general, 3 chairs. It deserves it. J-Man.
One thing Ven neglected to mention in his little mix with the working bit is controller support. And we're going to get into that a bit later under the controls section. But essentially, if you have not but a PS4 controller, you are shit out of luck if you want to play this with a controller. So that in itself, amongst the other faults with its lack of QA, is why I'm going to ding it a chair and give it 3 chairs, because it does work. You can play it. You can actually play it fairly well at a decent frame rate, but lots of stuff is missing. It is kind of Swiss cheesy in that regard. Pedro.
Yeah, the frame rate thing, we'll get to that soon enough. But on my end, and that's probably because I disabled the Steam overlay by default. I don't use it ever since I got to the second monitor. I don't see a reason to use it, so for me, it gets 4 chairs.
Alt-tab.
Round it down.
Yeah, rounding time. That's 3 chairs for mix with the working. Decent score. Coming up next is Shiny and Sounds. Ven, did it tickle your eye pussies and delight your ear pussies?
Well, that's something I definitely want to bring up in this particular situation, because let's be honest, it's not the most graphically intensive game, but listening to my 770 scream inside the box, you would think it was made out of moon magic. Not the case, but I do want to touch on this. It doesn't matter how advanced your graphics are and how many shades of brown you manage to put on the screen at one time. Art direction is always more important than any of that business. if you like the art style and what it's going for, it doesn't have to be the most amazeballs thing to ever enter your eye pussies. And this, I like the art direction. It is not, over the top in any way. It's a bit cartoonish, but, it's static where it needs to be. Character animations, they work. And I just really dig the art style and can't hate on it. I mean, you're not going to go, wow, this is, what is it, 12-year-old Screaming Kid Simulator 14, but for what it is and what it's going to be, and then they're aiming for that PS4 gold money. I'm going to give it 3 cheers. J-Man, were you tickled in special places, baby?
Well, I do agree with you about the art direction. I think they did a pretty good job with it. It's cartoony, but the nature of the game sort of mandates that this has a cartoony look and feel.
Well, you didn't want like a realistic...
No, I wanted to see an actual mollusk try and grip on things, but
and die from lack of oxygen.
The art direction is pretty good. The sound design is also all right. However, in terms of just eye pussy tickling, it's even when I have everything cranked up to max on my Fedora 20.
You really got to cut that anti-aliasing on, or it looks like absolute rubbish.
Yeah, you just crank everything up to max. Even then, it kind of looks a bit meh, all things considered. And while it's not the most graphically demanding game, I can't really give it 4 chairs. I'd be tempted to give it 3 chairs, but even with my stupidly powerful 670 super clock driving it, it still looks a bit, let's call it fuzzy. So I'm gonna give it 2 chairs for shiny and sounds. Not bad, not terrific either, but it's right in the middle. Pedro.
Yeah, so this is when the problems actually started showing up. Namely, shadows appear as quivering pixels. You don't see a shadow cast below an object, you see a bunch of flickering pixels just here and there, and it gets annoying.
Wait, is quivering pixels your safe word?
Quivering pixels makes a good band name.
It does.
It does. Okay, so then it has the same weird full screen bug that early Steam Linux games used to have, that it full screens to a single screen and then disables the other one. And that's annoying as balls, because that shouldn't happen, and this isn't 2013 anymore. That shit doesn't fly around here. And even on the lowest settings, in fact, it doesn't matter if I have it on the highest settings or the lowest settings, the frame rate every now and again will get choppy as balls. I think it's got something to do with the lighting, because in the tutorial level, when you flick the disco lights on, it became pretty much unplayable. So they have to fix that and optimize the game a little bit. 2 chairs for me.
And what type of system is that, P-Man?
It's an i3 370M at 2.4 gigahertz with an ADI 5650 HD using the open source drivers.
Brilliant. So, J-Man.
So yeah, that's 2 chairs for shiny and sounds, middle of the road. So, control. Now, here is where things tend to fall apart. Then, I know every day is just a hurricane of alcohol and tobacco abuse. But did you feel you were in control while playing Octodad?
It is brilliant. I mean, it's something that made me jump into their forums and say, gather around, chitlins. We got a small problem here. I'm just going to kind of read off the show notes just here. This game naturally is meant for the PS4, which I'm guessing some, wet stinky, exchanged hands, or something like that. So you see the PS4 graphic for the controller, because we all know, all Linux gaming PC gamers, we immediately threw away our PS3, our PS2, our Xbone controllers, our Logitech F350s, and was like, oh, this is a brilliant thing. Then we waited 3 months and we finally got the USB driver and all that. That's exactly what we did. They understood that. Good on them. So, as a Xbox controller, just balls, man. It absolutely doesn't work. Nothing's mapped right. Get in there. I was like, I politely put it to him. I was like, oh, by the way, Xbox controllers are balls. Period. Then they got back, and I quote, "We are going to look into compiling Ilrich with SDL support to see if this better solves some of the issues." If the cartoon jaw could hit the floor when I read that, I was... I didn't have anything clever to write, but I just got up, walked outside, had a pipe, and I was like, right, I like the color blue. I don't... my brain short-circuited because SDL2, it's a thing. Use that, problem solved. I know you only have 2 developers working on that, but it really makes me wonder whether or not you bothered to fucking test it, because you didn't. That's very clear. That said, keyboard, wireless gerbil, spacebar, 2 buttons, works like a charm, no issues. That's why, I can't give it 0 cheers because we're not allowed to, unfortunately. But I'll give it the 1 cheer because that does work. J-Man!
So initially, I gave it one of these, and then I gave it one of these.
What?
And unfortunately, so both
What did it give you?
What did it give me? It gave me shit.
It gave you the middle finger, that's what.
It gave me a big old fuck you. For those of you who are listening audio-wise, I just held up a PS3 controller and an Xbox 360 controller. I thought maybe, PS4 controller, PS3 controller. It's close enough. Nope. If you want to play this with a controller, it is PS4 or nothing. And really, what would make this game awesome is if you had like a sort of Wiimote get up. Or a PlayStation Move or something like that.
4 of them. Take to all of your organs.
Or just cut me open and remove all my organs and then sew me back up and leave me to arrive. But keyboard and mouse is just really,
I have the
really
strangest
easy.
erection. Go ahead.
Yeah, you just honestly, if you're playing this with keyboard and mouse, you just power through everything, and eventually you'll get to the end of the level. It's a bit too easy, and I kind of really did want to play this with the controller because it looked like it would be fun with the controller. But alas, SDL2 is not an option for these people.
But they're working on it.
They're working on. They're going to recompile that engine, all right.
After they took
all day long,
30-something hour wet stinky caches. But yeah, boom.
Yeah, boom,
Yep.
boom. So that's 2 chairs for control. Pedro.
Yeah, so it's mapped for the PS4 controller, right? So technically, it should work with the PS3, perhaps even the
No.
PS2 controller.
Nothing works. Nothing's mapped for the PS4 controller. Distance Alpha. They're like, it works with the PS4 controller. And I was like, well, that's one thing. Good.
But yeah,
Well,
like Jordan
Welcome
said,
to the Treehouse Population U.
Right.
Jordan tried it with the PS3 controller. It didn't work properly. I tried it with my DualShock 2 PS2 controller. It did not fucking work properly. Come on, guys. I mean, maybe Flip the G by Bow has gotten me to a point where I'm used to shit working out of the box. SDL2.
Wait, do you mean you actually expect controller support in a game that we paid 14 quid for?
They say on the box it supports all controllers. Obviously, that's a fucking lie.
Yep, pretty much. But yeah, maybe Flip the G by Bow has gotten me in the wrong set of mind for this game because I really wanted to play it with my PS2 DualShock, but it wouldn't let me, and I had to use the mouse and the keyboard, and I didn't want to. Granted, it works, but I didn't want to. 2 chairs.
So that's 1 full chair for control.
As it deserves.
I'm not feeling in control. And finally, our subjective category, fun. Then, did you enjoy yourself?
What? Oh, I did. Oh, we're just talking about the game. Sorry, I was kind of busy with something.
Making out with your guy friends?
Jesus and football, baby.
America.
Honestly, I wanted to when this came, we talked about this like week before last, and in J-Man and P-Man was like, wouldn't it be interesting to like play this game stone cold sober, like rah, screw it, then just get properly pissed on whatever substance you care for, because we're all drug addicts, and then try and be like, it's kind of fun. But I didn't rage quit from anger at any point of that. I raged quit from like, I couldn't get the controller to work, so it was keyboard and mouse. Like, that's stupidly easy. The wireless gerbil and keyboard, and I do say with an asterisk and an asteroid for being stupidly easy, and I'll qualify that in a moment. But because I'm really guessing if I could use, the X-Clone controller, it would add a bit of challenge to it, because no matter how wacky and zany the legs and arms are, I'm a high-functioning alcoholic, and that's not challenging to me. That's called...
Vet. How many bottles of wine have you drank so far?
12. Piss off. So...
Today alone.
This hour. So for fun, I'm going to give it 2 chairs, because that's it. I mean, for the price... Let's also, I'll save this for my final thoughts. So, J-Man, go ahead.
This game is actually more fun than it is any right being. It's kind of fun going around kicking shit over and roundhouse kicking people in the face. I enjoyed that more than any other aspect of the game. It's just like, oh, wedding cake. Fuck you, wedding cake. Oh, people. Roundhouse kick. Oh, wife. Punch in the face. But
now that's out of your system,
I can play this game.
He's single, ladies.
Yeah, you wonder why. It's really only fun in like 15-minute bursts, and then you kind of get bored of it. It would make an interesting drinking game to see how far you can get, and every time you like screw up, you take a shot. And by the time it's all over and done with, you die of alcohol poisoning.
There we go.
2 cheers.
P-Man.
Yeah, so I'll admit that the game is funny, and I'm sure there are a lot of people out there having a lot of fun, and it does have some...
You're saying people are out there on Funland on their fun sickles having fun in Funsville, but...
Yeah, and it does have a cathartic element to it of just walking into a room and knocking everything out of the tables.
Otherwise known as Monday morning in the Stone household.
Yep, I can respect that, but
damn right.
On my end, performance was bad. Every now and again, the frame rate would drop to like a slideshow, and that's bad. Graphics had more than a few glitches. Those fucking quivering shadows were everywhere. And by the end of the tutorial wedding level, I was done. I didn't want anything else to do with the game. And when that happens, that's not a good sign. 1 chair.
So I guess that's...
No calculator love in Portugal.
No calculator love at all. So that's 1 chair for fun. And if we tally up all our little itty-bitty scores, we get 1 giant cocaine Voltron score. That's really just 1 lawn chair out of the possible 4. So, final thoughts.
I'm going to start with that. My biggest final thought with it, the price, and this is something that you will see in the forums about this game, is price versus 4 hours, 3 hours, really, of gameplay. And, what is it, like 14 wet stinky, right?
12.
Yeah.
12, somewhere in there. And it was on a bit of a discount, so it didn't hit us too hard when we picked this up. I mean, donations, thank you guys. That's great, so we can bring you this train wreck and test it out on our systems before you spend that money. Again, that's a bad analogy. Don't listen to me. Brilliant, Vin. So, no, the time spent, it was like 3 hours for like 12 quid. It's like, yeah, maybe not so much. That, and it is ridiculously easy. If there was a hard mode, and mixed with the developers going, Oh, people outside of PlayStation 4 controller owners own computers? Please, sir, could you explain? And we're terribly sorry. And I don't like the apologies issued on, it was like, oh, it's okay, developers. And I was like, fuck you, developers. Seriously, I gave you money. You give me product. Now, the least you can do is fucking fix it. Now. I'm not going to go, oh, thank you for fixing it. No, fix it. This is not ever. I mean, you don't pull this BS onto Windows. Don't pull it into Linux. Boom, Mike.
It's a fun, stupid little game. Pick it up if you have some time to kill. I would hold out for Octodad 2 Big in Japan.
Or how about a Japan mode where you can just do that thing to the things?
Yes.
That's the joke.
High school girls. Good times.
That's
right to the
joke.
schoolgirls, P-Man.
No, and now to our resident
Portugal
schoolgirl.
16
No,
is
Clonky, I
legal,
got it
so
right.
deal with
Tokyo Shaft.
But yeah, if you must, and I'm pretty sure some people will find the game fun. I have absolutely no question about it. But
You mean people
wait
with
for a
computers powerful
sale.
enough to play it? Yeah.
Wait for it to go on like 75% off or something, because as it currently stands, it's not worth the $12.
Well, that's it, really.
Yeah.
Octodad, Dadliest Catch. If it's on sale, buy it. Make up your own damn mind. We gave it the one share with the asteroid, so that's that business. Coming up next, we actually have some actual hate mail for you that we're going to read to you on this train wreck of a podcast. That's coming up next in the next segment. In 3, 2.
And
It's
face
coming
organ.
next, you say?
God damn it!
It's that time of the week that we sort of stop screaming in your direction and we read the hate mail you sent over our way. And for once in this segment, we actually have
They
some
scream in our
proper
face.
hate mail.
How do they do it,
Yeah.
though? This is crazy. This is mental. Why,
Yep.
why are we doing
Completely
this?
insane. You just
No.
go to LinuxGameCast.com, you push that contact button on the nav bar
Not
there.
doing it.
You fill out your name,
Nope.
fill out your email,
No.
give us a subject, give us your message,
No,
prove
no,
you're
no,
smarter
no.
than a bot,
Mm.
and just one teeny tiny caveat if you were trying to
Caveat?
promote or
Caveat?
caveat, yeah.
Caveat.
That's how we pronounce it in Moonland.
Yep. If you're trying to promote your Indiegogo, Kickstarter, or even Steam Greenlight, which is going away, but it's still active, so if you've got a game on Greenlight you'd like to see us promote, please include a playable prototype, a demo, call it whatever you want.
no,
If
just-
you don't
just
include it,
don't do it.
we're
Don't do
not
it.
going to do it. I'm so very
do it.
sorry. So with that out of the way, let's get into the hate mail proper, shall we?
Oh,
First
be
up.
nice.
Oh, gosh. This comes from Amuro. Yeah, that's brain-breaking
Mario?
juice for that. Armio?
A
Mario?
Mario.
For now,
It's
your
me,
name is
Mario.
Bob. Now, he was talking about a game, I believe it was Haunt?
Haunt.
Another in the long line of unique, thought-provoking Slender clones made with hacked Unity, pirate copies. He writes, you guys seem to only bash the game, not saying anything about what's done right, or even consider reviewing it as an indie, which should be reviewed different, really, as opposed to being a budget AAA title. You mean kind of like that AAA indie game called A Matter of Last Light? I can understand if you say something that's wrong, but I can't really see anyone saying, what's done right? Oh, we hurt his feeling.
Wouldn't that
His
preclude
feeling
doing
was
something right?
hurt.
Yeah, so Mario, here's the thing. Being indie excuses a lot of things. Okay, not a lot, but a few. Some graphical consistency, like polish and all of that, sure. Maybe even proper sound direction. Yeah, we could-
PPP, man. I
we
think
could give it.
What was that game that changed its ending because so many people were so pissed off about it?
It was called Mass Effect.
Yeah. See, in my day, games were an art, and you didn't change it because a bunch of whiny little bitches.
Yep. But you know what being indie doesn't excuse? It doesn't excuse shitty gameplay, laziness, or graphical glitches that anyone who even bothered paying attention could easily fix. And in fact, and I can tell from your comment that you don't watch the show very often, we did review a AAA title, Metro Last Light, like Vince said, and it got 2 chairs. We've had more indie games getting 3 chairs than not. So you, sir, have no idea what you're talking about.
J-Man?
Well, I mean, that's a very unfair generalization that Mr. Be Nice is making on us, because I'll give you the one example of a game that we completely panned but still talked about what we got right. Gone Home.
Mm-hmm.
We admitted, even though we all hated the game, that the atmosphere was extremely well done. So please don't say that we're not taking both sides of the game, because we do talk about what it does right and what it does wrong. And in the case of Gantz, it's another one of these freaking amnesia likes that are more. There was a time when it was a tie between hipster pixel platformers and amnesia like click-arounds, and it's just too much market saturation.
Yeah, I mean, this is fucking Slender on a fucking budget, as we originally called it, and
on even more of a budget, because Slender was for free.
Yep.
Right. Now they want to try to charge for this, and I'm sorry that you had to go through all of the trouble to create this username, because I'm assuming you're the developer of this massive train wreck fail sauce.
Honestly, I don't even remember anything about this game.
So when you ask, say something different, and say, oh, how would we change it? No, we wouldn't. There's nothing right about it in the first place. That's the business. That's the beans.
You know it'd be a good change? An abortion.
Speaking of abortions. Right.
Okay, that's a little
okay.
mean.
So this is from Ryan. He's talking about Distro Horizons, and he says, "I'm here to heckle you with our Kickstarter campaign." And he does actually have a Linux demo, so good on him for that. For Distro Horizons versus Galaximo's Army, 3D collectathon platformer in the same vein, spelled vein wrong, as Banjo-Kazooie and Conker's Bad Fur Day. And there's no Almighty Pooh throwing shit at me in this game, which makes me very disappointed. Distro Horizon is a Windows Mac Linux project penned for release in the summer. All you can tell being an indie dev, or as you can tell being an indie dev, we're trying to hit hard and fast with our marketing to get the word out on Distro Horizons. We're very proud of the project.
Jordan, tell me he's not running like Peter Dinklage.
Oh, he's running like he has to take a shit. Like, look at this guy. I played the demo. This guy walks like me after I've ate like an unhealthy amount of Taco Bell and drank an entire gallon of prune juice. But anyways, he bills this as a Conker's Bad Fur Day Mario 64 thing. But if you play the demo, you can't kill shit under Linux. You can't even jump under Linux. This entire game is a mess.
Well,
but you know what? It's still under development, though. So
it is definitely under development, and as the man says, the Kickstarter project, they want 5,000
which is a reasonable amount of money.
Wet limey pounds, which that's reasonable, but gather around, chitlins. My developer chitlins.
Also, question: why did they call it Distro Horizons and have nothing to do with Linux distributions?
I know.
Right. No idea. But from the Kickstarter, imagine if Banjo-Kazooie, Crash Bandicoot, Super Mario 64, and Conker's Bad Fur Day, to reiterate, all met up and had a cheeky baby. You know what? That does sound neat, but the prototype that you have reflects nothing of that. Nada. I do want to say, stick with it. Maybe you'll get there, give it another 18 months of development and get something in a rough state that you can show, because currently all you're showing right now is like, we kind of got it working. And
It compiles.
right, all the stuff that you're promising in this Kickstarter is not even. I mean, it's not even. Yeah, Mer, too small. Mer. And
Very little.
very little, comrade. So, at the end of the day, I mean, stick with it. Scream back in our direction. I mean, your Kickstarter is going to fail. It is.
Yeah, and also about that video thumbnail you got going on with the black border around the semi-cel-shaded character, it's not doing you any favors. It does not look good.
And honestly, when I say stick with it, you do need to stick with it. And if you do stick with it, I give you my word, at least my word. If you want to make it edgy and all that business, I'll donate voice work for free to your game, but you got to stick with it. And maybe these jackholes might help me out as well and give you some of the business. So,
Finally, we have a distro recommendation now.
Vince.
An actual distro for once.
Sup, Vince? What's up, baby? Long time no see.
So Vince says, "Hail LGC, awesome show. Just letting you
Suck
know
up.
about a fine distribution of the
Pedro, you just got buttered
GNU/Linux
up. Look at
bread."
that. You're not even taking this objectively.
No, I'm not. Of the GNU/Linux variety that I maintain called Chapeau, which means hat in French. Chapeau is a
Yes.
Where
remix
are
of
we getting
Fedora that
invaded by-
includes extras, free and non-free, including the Steam client, Play on Linux/Wine, and all that good stuff by default. For Pedro, to compare with Corora, Chapeau sticks a little closer to Fedora/GNOME base in terms of design and feel, but still aims to make things just work without disrupting Fedora's workflow, if you catch my drift. It's a 64-bit distro with Fedora's preferred GNOME 3DE and can be found over at chapeaulinux.org. All the best, Vin. Okay, so 64-bit only. Okay, I know we're living in the future right now, and most computers are 64-bit capable.
Oh,
and
come
most
on,
people
Pedro. Join the project and kill it. That's all you got to do.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Here's the thing, though. There are plenty of wine games that simply don't even start if you're using a 64-bit Linux distro. It's just fact of the matter. And I know we're getting a lot of native titles nowadays, and those work regardless of 32 or 64-bit. But I still have a particular wine game that I enjoy playing that only works on 32-bit Linux distros. And here's the challenge.
Hello Kitty
You get-
Island Adventure.
You get that particular game, which is Need for Speed World. It's free to
Hello
play,
Kitty
so
Island
you can just
Adventure.
download it, install it. You get that to work in your distro, and I will give Chapeau a spin. I'll take it out for a ride.
You know,
But
Vince,
you have to
yeah,
get it working.
Don't you mean you take it out for a tip?
Giggity. No, I think that's
Just
neat.
a tip.
In the world of gaming distros, might be kind of dodgy. It takes a lot to maintain a distro. And honestly, you know, we might be saying great things after you've stuck with it for 2
Couple
years.
years.
Yeah, because everyone and their mum is like, "Oh, this is my new distro," and that's a pain
It's just
in
a
the ass.
repackaging of old
Yeah.
stuff,
Right.
not really doing much.
It's a lot of work, so yeah. I mean, good on you for the effort. Rock on. Nothing new. I think we're all going to stabilize on something called Debian.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even Captain Fedora over here is like, yeah.
I'm gonna keep rocking the Fedora, but I mean, come on. If your game's gonna work on Debian, then it'll work on Steam. That's basically it. Target that.
So that's going to wrap it up for the hate mail. But, you know, this is America. So let's cue the music. And you can
make out with our
always
guy friends.
find me after the football at Vince Stone on the Twitter nets, plus Vince Stone on the G pluses. I'm Linux GameCast, cleverly hidden on Steam, and Master Svang with some Jesus
Oh yeah, after the Jesus, you can find me at the Burning Fool on Twitter, plus Jordan Svung on Google Plus, or Burning Fool on Steam, and of course after making out with his guy friends, Mr. Pedro Matias.
Yes, it's America all the way from Portugal. I am Pedro Mateus, and you can find me at Unaccounted For on Twitter, plus Pedro Mateus on Google Plus, or Unaccounted For on Steam.
Now, normally we would have the video segment, but we're about to all go make out with Jesus and our guy friends and football and America.
Jesus tastes so good.
America.
Tastes like cheddar.